Buen dia, bombini, as we say on our island, good morning, and welcome to the final session of our 3-day Inner Lab webinar series. My name is Tishura Engelhardt, and I'm a Field Application Specialist at Farminpex. I'll be your moderator for today. First, a heartfelt thank you to all of you for being here with us today. It's been an inspiring few days. Over the last 2 days, we have explored powerful ideas, heard meaningful stories, and connected around a shared goal, improving well-being, both individually and as a community. And today, we're closing things out with a truly special guest who embodies that mission in both word and action. Let me introduce someone whose passion for community care is rooted in both vision and experience, Dr. Arthur de Nobrega Texeira. He's a dedicated general practitioner, or as many know him, a trusted family doctor. His medical journey began at the Universidad de Ciencias Médicas in Costa Rica, where he earned his degree in 2011. Just 2 years later, in 2013, Dr. Texeira made Curacao his home, a place where his dream would begin to take shape. By October 2018, he took over Centro Médico Ronde Clip, turning a long-held vision into reality, building a practice grounded in teamwork, compassion, and quality care. For Dr. Texeira, providing help goes beyond a single angle. It's about collaboration. He believes that true healthcare is delivered by a unified team of professionals working closely together to serve the community in the most complete way possible. Today, his message is simple but powerful. Join us in taking charge of your most valuable asset, your health. At the end of Dr. Texeira's lecture, there will be a question and answer session. Feel free to place your question in the chat throughout his talk. So without further ado, let's give Dr. Texeira a warm virtual welcome.
Morning. Thank you. I'm Dr. de Nobrega Texeira, family practitioner at Centro Médico Ronde Clip. That was a nice introduction. I felt how nervous you were. But that's what's all about it. I'm not helping. I'm sorry. No, you did very well. I like the introduction. It was very warming, actually. But yeah, I do believe in giving back in the community. That's the first thing that they always taught me. And I do, I'm big on that sense. And I love to, when I interview people, I always ask them, what do you give back to the world? And so that's me, and that's us in the clinic. So without further ado, let's start with the topic. They granted me the topic of self-care. So you're gonna put the slides on. I'm gonna start with the first slide. Bear with me, guys. It's gonna be long, tedious, but I wish you were all here. It would have been exciting to be a little bit more dynamic, but we don't have that. You can ask all the questions you want at the end of the lecture. So let's start, okay? Put the first slide on. Okay, so health first. Is self-care a science, actually? So when I tried to search that up, and it is, because it's the neuroscience, what they called actually the part of the neurons and the body being connected to each other. And it makes sense that it is a science. Self-care is a science. So what am I going to talk about is in these slides? I'm going to talk about why self-care matters. If we spend most of our lives working, self-care has to become a priority, right? The horror of all, the burnout. Burnout affects all aspects of our life. We should identify it from the start. The 5 pillars of self-care. You have to learn to balance actually the 5 pillars, this structure. Otherwise, if you lean, it will give out. And nothing else but make it a habit, right habits. I'm not going to talk a lot about making a habit because it's a long topic, but I have a book for you. I recommend you to read it. It's a bestseller. So when we get to that slide, I'll show it to you, or you guys will know which one it is. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so why is self-care so important? Everybody knows it's important, but no one knows how to. So we in healthcare, as doctors too, like what do we say always? Oh, you remember you gotta eat. You remember we tell our patients, you gotta eat on time, you gotta sleep on time, get your 8 hours of sleep. But do we do it ourselves? Do we have time to do it for ourselves? So it's funny, huh? So we shared this and we don't do it ourselves sometimes. Change the narrative. Whenever we say like, oh, you know what, I don't have the time, that means you don't value yourself, right? You know, give it importance to yourself. Let's put ourselves first. But what does that mean when I do it? Am I selfish? Some people have the guilty feeling. You know, like, oh my God, I'm putting myself first. Doesn't feel good. It's a guilty feeling sometimes. What you experience throughout the years, what do I mean with this is actually some of us, and depends on the culture, we have parents that had 2-3 jobs a day. You know, and have to take care of the family. So whenever you come up and say, you know, I'm going to put myself first now, I want a little bit of vacation, what do they tell you? Oh my God, you're so lazy, right? Mm-hmm. Or you hear something else, oh my, you know, go back to work, you're not doing enough. It's because back in the day, let's put it that way, they didn't know about this, you know, and you didn't have time for this actually. Some people don't. So it's rough, and so that's where you're gonna start feeling, oh, my dad told me like I should go back to work. Oh, you know what? I feel guilty now. You know. Oh, am I selfish then? Again, we go back to the second point. So why is self-care so important then? It improves our mental health, enhances our self-esteem and self-worth, increases optimism, builds resilience, lessens symptoms of anxiety and depression, which most people walk around with. Okay. So, let's start with our first quote. Be valuable, not available. What does that mean? You know, somebody of value, whenever their presence is not felt, they are missed. You know, be somebody that they miss you when you're not present. Somebody that's valuable will take care of others, will resolve issues or problems, will, let's say, value the time, his time, or her time, and the other. So that's somebody that has value. So I always say, available is just giving your time, but be valuable, all right? That's something just I want to share. Okay, so let's jump right in with the 5 pillars of care. Let's start, there's some people that say there's 7, but I'll make it easy. Let's do 5, otherwise we won't end today. So what's the 5 pillars of self-care? Here, I'm going to tell, when we're talking about the 5 pillars of self-care, maybe some of you want to take out a piece of paper and a pen and start writing down examples, because at the end of all of this, you can actually, I'm going to tell you what you should do with it. But basically, you should write it down. There are examples. You can search it also online. What are examples of a pillar of self-care, of physical, mental, emotional, and write a couple down. You can add your own too. Depends on how you feel. Everything is depending on how you feel and how, if you're happy with it. Okay? So, physical, the first pillar, physical, is the most important. Why? Because the lower the risk, it lowers risk of diseases. You know what it is. If we move, if we start moving, we do exercise, you already win. You can win 50% of self-care already. You know, you prevent diseases with if you move. You prevent cancers. You prevent, let's say, people with risk of being diabetic, hypertension. You can lower all of that. Lower your blood pressure. Lower your blood sugar. For your mental health in that aspect too. So basically, it's just starting with the physical. You got 50% ahead of self-care. So what are the examples? If you want to write it down, eat healthy meals 3 times a day. exercise or gentle movement, get a massage. Imagine that, get a massage. So that's good. Dance, swim, walk, play sports, sing, do any activity that is fun. All right? Get enough sleep. Take a road trip, a mini vacation. Hey, you know, and this is the most important one. Get some time off of that phone. You know, that dopamine release. We got to start with that, especially when we try to go to sleep. That blue light affects our actual sleeping pattern, right? So I would advise this, just a small advice. Got a free advice right now from the doctor. Everyone, let's start with, before you go to sleep, at least 1 hour before you go to sleep, take out the phone, okay? At least that, okay? Doctor said at least one. Okay, so let's go to the mental aspect. We got to learn how to turn on and off our brain in certain circumstances. What do I mean with this? I always love this. I had issues, me and myself, I had issues with turning off my brain when I was done with work. What do I mean with this was, I remember going out with friends, and my friends would say, anything exciting that happened at work. You know, and you try to remember so you can tell them, hey, you know what, I saw this type of thing, and you know, they loved it. You know what ended up for me happening? Created anxiety. So one day, I said, you know, enough is enough. And I got a blessing that I learned myself to forget at the end of the day what I did. And that was the greatest thing ever. You know, and then suddenly they would ask me, hey, what was the most exciting thing that happened during the week? I don't know. I forgot. I don't remember. And I'm serious. I'm joking. I do it on purpose. And it's and it's relaxing because now you can enjoy the time. You can separate what's work and what's free time. It's the most amazing thing. So that's one. And mental aspect of the pillar, personal growth and keep mind stimulating. Okay, so what are examples of this? Try some psychotherapy. It won't hurt. People that have certain things now, they might tell you, hey, you got something, why don't you see a psychotherapist? Why not? You know, we don't see psychotherapists because when things are bad, we see when things are good, to prevention, sir, people. Make time for self-reflection, journaling. It has proven that journaling, writing down what happened through your day, helps you actually mentally digest everything during that day. Even when you have to go back and say, let's say, for example, if you go to psychotherapy, you can go back and say, this is what happened, and then you can connect the dots even. I'm seeing that throughout my journaling, logging, I'm seeing this pattern is constantly happening to me, you know? It's not only for the captains with the lost boats. It's for everybody. Set boundaries. Learn to say no. Read something fiction or not related to work. Practice being aware of your feelings, thoughts, attitude, judgments that you do. Beliefs. This is the part, the mental pillar is the part of creativity. Paint, knit, carve, sketch, play some music. Learn to play some music. Add some creativity to your work. Let people do things. This is funny. When I saw it's mentioned by one of the high psychotherapists. It says, let people do things for you. Learn to receive. There's some people that have a bunch of difficulty in learning to receive. They only give. Because in our work, what we do, give and give. We don't learn to receive. That's hard. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This is where I stand, people. Social. And I put it in bold. It's a human need. Why? Because there's a lot of people. I'm going to tell you something. Please. The person that tells you, I don't trust people. That's why I'm only with animals. Please send them to a psychotherapist. Please do. It is proven in so many studies that we are social beings. It has shown that over, even like they put the graph together, 10, people that interact with people live 10 years longer than people that interact with no one. 5 years longer, the people that only interact with animals. We are social beings. We need that interaction. You can search it up if you want to. Look up Harvard's oldest study, which is like an 80-year, 90-year-old study, has shown that even diseases can be prevented by being social. I know it hurts. I know trusting the person, I trusted that person, and you know what, my trust got broken, my heart got broken, or whatever. You know, but we still are social beings. Get rid of that that block that's stopping you, you know, and get ahead. Keep on going, moving forward. We're still human. We still make mistakes. Forgive that person. Continue. It's easy to say, I know. But again, we have to continue living with each other. We work with each other. We got to trust each other. Okay. So, another pillar there, spiritual. It doesn't mean actually religion. I said no religion, but it is. It doesn't mean specifically religion. It's more about our values and our beliefs. So what are the examples of this? Spend time in nature. Charity work. Amazing how charity work helps people. When you have that sense of giving back and not expecting anything in return, is one of the best feelings ever. One of the best feelings ever. Meditate or pray. I remember, you know, it's funny. What was it? I was in a group here in Curacao. We're not known for meditation at all. There's anybody that you ask how many people meditate in a group of 100, maybe only one. And I'm not saying praying, because we don't understand how to meditate. And I went to Canada. I was around a lot of professionals, and they were saying like, you know, the stress of the day. How do they release, or how do they start their day? And out of that group of 10 people, I'm standing, 9 were saying they meditate. That one that didn't say it was me. The only one that didn't say it. They say, how can you go through your daily activities without meditating? Meditating helps. It's a study too. It does help. Meditate. Learn how to do that. There's professionals that guide you. There's even programs that guide you. Apps. Make another example. Make time for gratitude. You can pray. Write about something you cherish or that is meaningful in your life. Practice awareness and curiosity. Big words. Contribute or join cause that you believe in. Okay. Be open to inspiration and watch the sunset or sunrise. Who wants to watch a sunset or sunrise with me? Let's go. You know, that's also spiritual. Okay. So we're going for the last one, the emotional. The emotional is compassion and kindness. It's actual how you feel. Imagine one of the examples is let yourself have a good cry. Crying is actually a form of release. Crying is not because you're vulnerable. Crying is not because you're weak. Crying is a form of release for a lot of people. So if you have to let yourself a good cry, do it. And I wish you can do it with somebody that you trust with. That's powerful. Make a list of people, objects, hobbies, or activities that bring you comfort. Find things that make you laugh. Call a good friend or someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. Watch your favorite movie. Find ways to release, there we go, anger. Work out, yell into a pillow, write it out and burn it. Create a feel. No, that one I'm not going to say it, but play. It sounds a little bit weird what I'm going to say, but I think you guys are going to get the gist of it. It says play with children or spend time with animals. It's also something emotional. The oxytocin that comes up with it. All right, so we went through all the pillars basically. Before I go to the other. So what is the idea of all of this? It's just write down. If you guys listen to it, you can search it online. There's a bunch of examples of it. You can write your own. You will write out of these pillars, maybe 2, and you start looking into what can I do? What can I do? Maybe how many minutes, how many hours, how many this a day, a week, a month, what I'm gonna and balance. This is the balancing of your life. Right? And the idea is not to, I don't feel anything. It doesn't mean that you don't feel anything. It prevents you to feel something that's not good, which is, we're going to get to it, which is the burnout. So, last, make it a habit. I have a very interesting book. I have this book. It's amazing. It's amazing. In Atomic Habits, it goes through bad habits, good habits, how to make habits, and it's and right next to it, I copied a chart that actually makes it easy for you to understand what the book is actually about. So, and the funny thing is that all the way up there, the 4 stages of habits. Especially, it gives an example of the phone, because the phone has the dopamine release. It's the best habit ever, the best bad habit that we have ever. So a cue is the first one, the cue. Your phone vibrates. Second one is the craving. You want to look. Third one is the response. So you grab your phone, and the reward is you actually satisfy the craving. So that's how actually a habit is formed. So what do we do actually? How to create that habit? Make it obvious, make it then attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So, for example, if we got to grab an example of making something attractive, maybe you want to work out. You have the treadmill in your house. What do? You pick the treadmill, put it in front of the TV. That's the way you're making it attractive. I only watch TV when I go on the treadmill. There we go. Problem solved. Stop laughing. Another one is grab friends. Grab friends, make a group, go to the gym together, walk together. I see a lot of people doing this right now. It's the best thing that you can do to make a habit. Let's say, okay, so if you want to make it easy, let's go for the example of making it easy. Maybe you want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, fast it, and go out for a run. What do you do to make it easy? Prepare your clothing the night before. That's one of it. And make it satisfying. I'm a person, I love the gym. I've been in the gym since I was actually 18. And what was it? I loved eating, actually. I like eating. And to actually keep the weight down, I work my butt off, lift up heavy weights, and that's make it satisfying. After that, I'll go maybe for a McDonald's. I'm sorry, don't take that as an example. That's a bad example from the doctor. You can take that after 5 o'clock the afternoon. So, no, I'm serious. That's the thing. Like you should have certain bad habits, but again, you can't live out of carrots and celery only. So you gotta have fun for sometimes, from time to time. All right, so we keep on going. So I made a sheet. The next slide, please. Sorry. Yeah. So I made a sheet. This is the easiest sheet you can make. You can see the habits. Let's say, how do you call it? The columns? Well, actually, the columns are the days, right? Yeah, that's the columns. And what's the other one then? The one. Yeah, those are not columns. This
is a columns?
No.
Columns is like this?
Is columns like this or?
Columns and rows.
Okay, there we go. She got it. Sorry. So the columns, you can see the type of let's say examples of a pillar, and the rows are the days. So, and you keep track of that. You can put it on your fridge, put colors on it, happy faces, put stickers of happy faces. I did this, I did that. So keeps track of it. And it gets to be a point where you don't have to, so it gets to be a normal. All right, so that's the easiest thing I can set for you. You can make, and that page can be bigger, go bigger, like maybe you can put 2, 3 examples and of any pillar. And you try to keep track of it, okay? So, next slide. Okay guys, what do we see here? This is art from a guy, from a person called Wolfgang Stiller. He's a German. He's known for this art. He loves putting burnout art. This is the burnout art. So what do you see? Actually, heads as matches, but you don't see the body. Why? Because he was fascinated with how the head works. And he said, this is his famous art that he made, and he said this is people walking around with, this is what he sees every day, people walking around with burnouts, stress, depression, and everywhere they go. So this is everywhere. Burnout people everywhere. All right? Okay, so the horror of all, the burnout. The burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It often happens when someone feels overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands, especially in work, school, caregiving, or high-pressure environments. That's us, yeah, right? Sounds like it. The WHO puts as a definition a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Now, I want to tell you guys, remember that burnout is not anxiety, it's not depression, but it leads to it. Okay. So, what are the 5 stages of burnout? So, actually, I'm going to tell you two type of stages. There's actually 12 stages, but I put it nicely in 5. Okay, the honeymoon phase. This is when you start working. You start, and it comes with energy, optimism. Yeah, you can, you laugh, you come in smiling every day, and your older colleagues will be like, "What happened to him? What's wrong with him?" It's common experience satisfaction that leads to periods of productivity, ability to tap into your creative side. Okay, so then it starts the onset of stress phase. Eventually, the honeymoon phase dwindles, and you begin to experience stress. Not every second of your day is stressful, but there are more frequent times when stress takes over. As this stage begins, take notice of any physical or mental signs. You may start to lose focus more easily or be less productive when completing tasks. Physically, fatigue can start to set in, making it more difficult to sleep or enjoy activity outside of work. Then comes the third phase, the chronic stress phase. You'll reach a point where the stress is becomes more persistent or chronic. As the pressure mounts, the stress is likely to consistently affect your work. Examples include feeling of apathy, not completing work on time, being late for work, or procrastinating during tasks. Socially, you may withdraw from normal work-related conversations. In other cases, you may become angry and lash out to your colleagues, actually. Sometimes these feelings follow your home and can affect relationship with friends and family. This is getting aggressive, right? So the 4th stage is when it comes to a burnout phase. This phase is when you reach your limit and can no longer function as you normally would. Problems at work begins to consume you to the point where you obsess over them. At times, you may also feel numb. This is the very first feeling, actually one of the main feelings, feeling numb and experience extreme self-doubt. Physical symptoms will become intense, leading to chronic headaches, stomach issue, gastrointestinal problems. Friends and family members may also notice behavioral changes. And the last phase is the worst phase, when it's a long period that you're walking around with that burnout. Is if left untreated, burnout can become a part of your everyday life and eventually lead to anxiety or depression. You can also begin to experience chronic mental and physical fatigue that prevents you from working. Your job status may be in jeopardy at this stage. Now, this whole thing, why it's so hard with burnouts? Because it's so easy to treat. It's not actually medicated. It's more of rest. But the problem is, how long should you get that rest? I've seen burnout that can lead up to 6 months without activity. And for work, that's horrible, and like they say, your work will be in jeopardy because of that. And again, the whole thing is leading up to anxiety or depression. Remember, anxiety and depression, they are fixated to how the neurohormones works in your brain, and that's actually there's a shift. In burnout, it's not there yet, but it will lead to that point. Okay. So the other way of explaining it, let's go really quick through it, is Gil North and Herbert Freudenberger came up with 12 stages of burnout. The first, just going through it. An urgent need to prove yourself, going to start working harder. You neglect your needs, more interpersonal conflicts, revision of values, denial, withdrawal. The withdrawal is more like withdrawal from people, and you start also drinking and doing other type of drugs. Behavioral change, depersonalization. You're not the same person anymore. You don't feel the same thing. You don't have empathy for other people. You're feeling empty because the only thing you feel like it's just for work. Despair, and then at the last stage, total burnout. Okay, so what are the common signs of burnout? That's the next slide. Constant fatigue, even after rest. Depersonalization, the indifference, you're feeling numb, feeling detached or cynical about your work responsibilities. Reduced personal accomplishments or performance. What once gave you joy is not there anymore. Trouble sleeping or concentrating. Physical symptoms like headaches or stomach issues. Okay, wow. And let's go for another quote. If you look at people in your circle and you don't get inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. Stop laughing, right?
That's true.
But it's true, because we should be there for each other to actually lift up each other and solve problems together. Be there for one another. That's the type of circle I want to be in, right? Not the one that gossips around, not the one that doesn't really help me with my being a better human being in general, you know. And that's actually a healthy circle. So I think the quote gives it justice, right? So one other thing that I added in that I like about this topic with mind and self-care, it's a book. The next slide. It's a book that I read. It's a book that you can read every day. It's a nice book. Daniel Amen. It's a neurosurgeon. They did multiple scans on brains and see what vitamins they should give, and you can see if inflammation goes down, if it helps. And they came up with a mnemonic called Bright Minds. All of these bullet points, if you pick up the first letter, it spells Bright Minds. And basically, I'm not going to go through all of it because I'm not going to end with this. I'm just going to name them. You got to better your blood flow. That's with exercise, actually. Retirement and aging is a dangerous thing because, again, most of people, what they do when they retire? They keep the brain non-active, and you got to keep the brain active. Inflammation, you know that inflammation factors affects anything in the body and affects the brains too. Genetics, which is what you come with in your family, if you know certain genetics, if you have the risk of getting Alzheimer's and all that, you can fight with this. Head trauma, obviously you hit your head, you have a disadvantage. Toxins that we get every single day, we got to flush them out. Mental health, you know, like people with depression, people with anxiety, deal with them, and you know, you solve certain things so you got better rest and better mental health. Yeah, that's what it's called, mental health. Immunity, infections, neurohormone issue, diabetes, which is diabetes with obesity. You know, we gotta take care of obesity is going up every year, and it's not stopping. So we gotta take care of ourselves. You know, the more circumference you have, the more risk of diabetic you are. So sleep issues also. You know, the better sleep you have, the better it is for your brain. So these again, a book that I recommend you to buy. It's a nice book and you can read it. It's one page every day. That's good for also one of the pillars, right? Okay, so I'm going to go into something that I'm very, I do talk to a lot of people about when we talk about self-care, and the way the mind, the way we have to think is when we talk about short and long-term goals. Find your mindset. You have to know the difference. What is short-term goals actually? The definition. Short-term goals are the stepping stones to our grander ambitions. They are those objectives we set to be achieved relatively quickly, and usually within a few weeks, months, or 1 year. Short-term goals are specific and are often designed to be highly actionable, guiding us towards immediate progress, right? And the long-term goal is the ones we envision for our future selves, mapping out where we hope to be several years down the line. They are broader, more encompassing, encompassing, yeah, and by nature less detailed than short-term goals. These are the kinds of objectives that demand patience, persistent, and strategic approach. Yeah, so that's short and long-term goal. But my problem is this with short and long-term goals. When we think about it, I do have an issue because whenever I talk to people to progress in life, and I tell them what are their goals, and most of us do tell we want short-term goals. We don't want that long-term goal. Or we don't even know what long-term goal is. And I'm going to give you an example. And because again, it's all about how we see and perceive. We train the subconscious. The next slide, it's not that one. It's the subconscious mind. Because whenever we only get to that short-term goal and we get to it, and then I say, okay, you finally lost 5 kilos. Now what? I don't know. And you know, it tends to actually, you tend to actually fall back. And I'm going to tell you one experience on my own. I graduated medical school. When I got that, I remember a friend of mine always said, enjoy the process, not the end result. That's another quote. I never understood this until I got the diploma in my hand. Because the moment I got my diploma in my hand, I got a depression. Because I had nothing else envisioned. And this is very dangerous. People don't know how dangerous it is when you talk about short and long-term goals. And I'm going to tell you this. For example, go back to the examples. No, the other one. Yeah. Which one is short and which one is long? Married with kids or family? Because if I'm married, I get married, I get some kids, I'm done. You're done with your short-term goal, actually. The long-term goal, if you got a family, you say my vision is into my family. That's a constant work. That's a long-term goal. You know, again, a house or a home. Everybody can buy a house. You got a loan, you got a house. But a home, I got to work for it. You got to be. You got to go in and check everybody if everybody's on par, if everybody's okay, right? You got to work for it. A house, I just bought the house. Yeah, I got the house. You don't have a home. Be healthy or drop the weight. I always tell people like, okay, so what do you want? Oh, I want to drop 10 kilos. I want to look like Beyonce. You're not going to look like that. Sorry, this is going to start with the reality check. And then they prove me wrong because they go to some place and get all this procedures done, so I was wrong, but then they got it, so now what? And I tell them, let's change again the goal. Let's be healthy, not drop the weight. Let's be healthy, and that makes you want to work constantly. And again, this is my example. Graduate medical as a medical doctor, or help people in medicine. And then I changed the way that it was. I started helping people, and that's fulfilling. And this is another one that I love. It's from one of my favorite, I would say, TED Talk. That people, her or his income, or our income. When we talk about, he was giving example. Well, he's on the talk show, and he had a call in, and they said, what's the problem? So they go through all the money issues that the woman was saying, and he says, his income is this, my income is this, his income is that, his problem is this, his what he owns and what I own. And he said, wait, we got a problem here. You know, you guys are married? Yeah, we're married. When is it us? When do we talk about us? And he said an example of him and his wife. And he says, I'm a multi-millionaire. I have a $300 million asset, blah, 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 and all that. And it's not mine, it's ours. My wife doesn't work. So it's ours, but it's still ours. Once you start talking differently, things will be different inside the house also. So the way we talk, the way we set goals, makes us also, our mindset to be different. Start trying that. That's an advice from me. All right, so next slide. The self-care journey, there isn't a linear process. It's constant, man. Ups and downs, because maybe a family member dies, maybe you walked into a disease, maybe it goes up, and you have ups and downs. It's a constant work for it. Okay, so and that last part I want to show, there's a bunch of tools for tracking self-care. More by apps like Dailyo, that's for moon and activity tracker. Fabulous, daily routines and habit coaching. Salvello, mental health and tracking resources. I use this one, MyFitnessPal, nutrition and fitness tracking. Awesome app. I'm not selling anything. I'm not sponsored by them. They should, but okay. The sleep cycle. I used to have an Apple Watch. It's awesome also to track your sleep. Wearables and smart devices, Fitbit, Apple Watch, Garmin, they track steps, sleep, heart rate, whatever you want, even if you go to the bathroom how many times you went to. Syncs with wellness apps for broader health insight. And as last one, tools for tracking self-care and other tools for mental and emotional well-being. This is meditation apps, help you for meditating, it's amazing. Calm, I use Headspace. Headspace is great. Again, not sponsored by them. Insight Timer, therapy platform, BetterHelp, Talkspace. There are even platforms that they give you time with psychologists. I saw, man, it's amazing how they go that far. Mood tracker, mood notes and variables. Okay, so you're not alone. You can a bunch of stuff that can help you with it, but we gotta use them. Again, it's like what I said. We know about it, but we don't apply it. So, as last quote, choosing comfort over discomfort does not lead to a comfortable life. You know, funny enough, I remember my mom said, "You're crazy." I said, "Why?" Because she said, 2 things that you always hate was a hospital and planes. And the 2 things I wanted to be was a pilot or a doctor. Because I chose to be this comfort. I don't want that comfort. Comfort kills, man. Comfort kills. Gotta be this gotta move. You gotta keep on moving. The more challenges you got, the more things. And something that I always tell people when I pray, I always say, God, don't take off my don't take out my problems. Just give me the tools for it. You know, that's what you need, the tools for stuff. And keep on moving, man. To be there's nothing worse than being on that couch, sitting and doing nothing, just being comfortable. The moment I feel comfortable, I feel actually discomfortable. So, anyway, so no further ado. That was me. Thank you. I hope you liked it. I hope you didn't fall asleep. I see you. You're falling asleep. Wake up, wake up. We're done.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, doctor.
No problem.
My
pleasure.
For pointing out my flaws. Being nervous.
Being nervous.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Like I said, thank you so much. It was really nice, all the information given regarding taking care of ourselves. Sometimes we do forget and we see it as a selfishness of ourselves, but that's not the case. So I'm not crazy then.
No, they're not crazy.
I'm not crazy. We truly appreciate your time. We have a couple of questions. Let me see. We start with Jennifer Martinez. She has a couple of questions. She says, have you ever experienced burnout yourself? You just said so.
I did.
Could you also say you have experienced it more than one time? And how did you deal with it yourself?
Okay, I experienced, the funny thing is that's a funny thing about burnout. You see, like, it goes through stages, right? So it's not burnout, I felt stage 12. Maybe I went through stage 3 or 4. And yeah, of course, you got those, that point where you're giving care. And you know what it comes to? You're giving so much back to the community. And then you feel like nobody cares about you. Maybe you come even at home and you feel like you're all alone by yourself. Everybody went to sleep, so you're alone and you have to cook. You have to do your own thing, so you feel like there's no value in what you're doing. So it comes, and you got to watch out, because those are traps. I call them traps because it makes you think differently when you forget what you're doing and for who you are doing. And it's so easy just to step back and reevaluate where you are and continue in the best way you can. And these are the things, like, oh, when you feel like that, oh, what do I have to do? Step back, say no. Most people, that's a problem they have. They can't say no, and yeah, maybe you had a heavy day, 6 o'clock, another patient comes in. What do you feel? Oh, my job is to give back. Oh, my job is this. It's 6:15, comes in late. No, but doctor, and that's the crucial part where you start saying, am I selfish? Or you start feeling guilty, because if I tell them no, I start going home and like, oh my God, maybe this and this happened with her. And you get to that point, and it's hard. It's not an easy way to deal with it. Remember, being a good doctor, sometimes I always tell people, what's the definition of being a good doctor? It's not the one that knows more. It's the one that gives more. It's the one that answers my phone at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, the one that gives me all the prescriptions that I want. Oh, this is the one that answers for whenever. He goes on vacation and he answers his phone. How great of a doctor is he? And
he's killing himself.
Yeah, but they don't think about that. They think about, how great he is because he answers my phone and gives me whatever I want on the moment I want. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the concept we got to take back, and we got to say, like, remember, and switch off. It's so hard to switch off and say, it's about me right now.
Yeah, and that's one question I had, is how to turn off the switch. Like you said, you go home, turn off the switch, but how to start?
I will tell you this. You won't believe, but there's a difference also because of, and I hope nobody kills me because of that, because I'm saying it, but also, being a woman is different. You're more compassionate. You're more empathetic compared to most men. And in healthcare, what do we see? More women working than men. And it is, imagine also, a part of it that I didn't say, but imagine a person in menopause. All the hormones and all ups and downs that goes around, and they experience a burnout. How horrible that will be. Or how easy it will lead to get into that. It's certain things that sometimes when I have patients that come in and I see a very broad topic, menopause, perimenopause, all that, and I see they say, I used to, 10, 20 years ago, I could have handled this. I can't handle this anymore. Mm-hmm. And once they tell me that, I'm like, look at the age, look at all this and ups and downs that's going on, and hot flashes maybe, or whatever. Or maybe you're in menopause, or maybe you're in perimenopause. You don't know. You can't handle. The hormones are not there anymore. Mm-hmm. And certain things we got to tap into. Yeah. And you think it's a psychological issue, but it's a hormonal issue. That also plays a role. But back into your point of how do I turn that switch off? That's ethics and beliefs, and you got to start practicing little by little. You know what? Today I'm going to do this, and stick to it. So whatever it is, you have to start somewhere, because you don't have it in you. Let's put it in you. Let's start believing in it. And again, I'm going to tell you this. If you say no, like I said in one of the slides, be valuable, or before that, you're not valuing yourself? You don't give value to yourself? You don't love yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Let me see the next one. It's also from Jennifer. Are there any places, coaches, or institutions here on Curacao where one can learn about mindfulness or meditation? And if you personally know of any, would you recommend? We'd love to hear your suggestion too.
It's hard because I also was looking for someone. I even said, I'm going to do a course on meditation in a way that I can give it to people. You don't find people easily that do meditation. You find most people doing yogas, yoga this, yoga that, but you don't find a lot of meditation. It is, I would say, mostly you can search for a professional like a psychologist and ask. But I have asked, and I didn't find anyone doing meditation here on the island. Sometimes you have to go for a course online. Again, I would recommend certain apps that helps with meditation. It's amazing. You don't need that.
Yeah, and it's kind of taboo once you have it about going to a psychologist. Oh, you're going to like you just mentioned. No, it's not taboo. It doesn't need to be a taboo.
Well, this is the thing. Psychology. Most people. Oh yeah, we're gonna go to psychology when we cross that bridge when we get there. When things are bad, and that's the
and you're
issue.
late.
You're late. Exactly. We gotta go for psychology to prevent. I remember. I even start clapping in the consultation because this is things that we don't see actually. A lady comes in with a couple of kids and she says, I want to send my kids to a psychologist. I'm like, why? They're okay, right? What happened? Like, oh, yesterday a car crashed into the wall coming into the living room and they all panicked and freaked out and I want to see if they're okay. I said, wow, that's great. Because we, as culture, is like, whenever there's something, we'll go.
Yeah.
But she wants to prevent.
We shake it off
Exactly.
and move on.
Exactly. And these things don't come this year or maybe next year. It comes maybe after a couple of years, 10 years even. So it's amazing how other cultures should actually in a way ask for other cultures' opinions about how they deal with this actually.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Okay, next one is from Alexandra. How can organizations promote a culture of self-care without it feeling performative or superficially? With this, I mean, how can companies truly support the employee well-being in a real and meaningful way, instead of just doing it to look good or a checkbox?
I know that. I know that. There's some companies go like, okay, you know what? I'll just have this just to show them I'm complying with whatever the standards are giving. Well, that's hard because you need a company that the owner has to care for its workers, and an owner that is there for its work, a leader, not actually I would call it an owner, but a leader, and one that leads. And the one that leads knows about this, and it's hard because it's all about that organization where they're at. And you know, the bigger the organizations, the more more heads there is here and there, and they lose then track of what's essential for a business to thrive actually, and they only look for performance and how much you earn and all that. It's hard because that means actually they have to give it a chance for the workers to talk.
Yeah.
You know, maybe what I've seen is that maybe one day in a month the workers come together and they express.
Without being judged.
Exactly.
We listen and we don't
listen
judge.
and we don't judge. Exactly. And then they'll be like, oh, that person didn't come to work after. Oh yeah, it's after that meeting. They know. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it's hard because it all depends on the owner.
Yes. Okay. And I said I say the company, your people. Is the most valuable assets.
Yeah, of course.
Is your people.
Yeah.
Because they do the work for you. Okay, the next question is from Jennifer. Are there any studies or data from the Caribbean or especially Curacao on burnout or mental health? It would be interesting to know if research has been done, I guess.
Yeah.
In
the
this
regional
region,
context. Yeah. Well, my studies are more U.S. based, and you pick that from there. Curacao doesn't have. I haven't seen anything in that aspect from Curacao. The only thing is when you talk to professionals and they give you, I got so much. I got this amount, or I see like 20% of my people. It's there's no like really numbers and thrown in and saying like that. The other way you can do it is the referral letters. How much referral letters does SVB, our insurance company, main insurance company, gets with this type of we could diagnose? Not burnout, but maybe stress, maybe anxiety. You got a lot of, in my consultation, you got a lot of people with not burnout, but anxiety, already to that stage of anxiety, depression, because they don't know about the stages of a burnout. It's actually good for people to know, but most of them feel like they're not being heard. and that's an issue. Yeah, it's an issue because they come when the problem is already. I told them, they always say, I told them I'm gonna feel stressed. Well, why? Because maybe you know that after COVID they had to crimp in the business, they had to do this, and most companies now, some people do it's one person for 2-3 jobs at a time. So you kill that person. It burns out.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of people like that.
Yeah, and also, does the system support or understand this?
In the moment of COVID, it did started. Our system started sending out videos about healthcare. I mean, mental care. Was it enough? I don't know. But you know that also that whole thing about most people wanted to work from home a long time ago, and when they had it, it was stressful. Some people can't work from home. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you can work from, and then they have cameras looking at them. The camera should be on 24 or whenever you're working. You're not allowed to just walk off. It's too demanding.
Yeah.
So.
COVID did a lot to us.
Yeah.
So we have another question. Let me see. This one is from Jennifer also. And do you have a personal affirmation or guiding quote related to mental health that you often come back to share with others? I thought this one was an easy one.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Like, no, you got to think about it and see. There's nothing that I would. That's a hard one. There's a bunch of quotes though. I like a bunch of quotes. I'm a quote type of guy, but I don't memorize them. A book that I love. If you tell me like which books you can get for quotes and all that, I would say there's one called. Oh man, my God! I had it on the tip of my tongue. Young Pueblo. It's written by Young Pueblo. And you can see it. Actually, I got the internet on. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, it's from Young Pueblo. He's the author, and his book is Inward. Loved it. Inward. It's all about quotes. Quotes that helps you move forward, and bunch of it's in sections.
Okay.
Nice. It's nice.
Nice. Next question, can we get the slides of the presentation? Yes, I just got the nod over there. Yes, because it was
Nobody asked me, but it's okay.
Next question, Harry Diaz. Thank you, Charité. Can depression and anxiety in later stages cause dementia when you turn older?
You know, I had the same question. And I was searching for that. And because the funny thing about anxiety and depression, you forget. You start forgetting. And it feels like, do I have something now? Do I have, what do you call it? Dementia. No, actually, we call Alzheimer's even, you know, and it may look like it, but it's not. So anxiety and depression, not that it won't lead to it. There is some sort low percentage that can cause that, but also, of course, if you have it in the family, the more it will pop up. But again, not that I know a specific study that says, oh yeah, depression, anxiety, chronic depression will lead to dementia. Not that I know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Harry. Next question, Gijola. Great webinar, Doc. Do you have any tips for someone who is noticing a family member on the edge of a burnout?
Hug them and say I love you. I always say that. It's tell them that they care. Tell them that it means something. Tell them that you see the problem with a lot of things is when you're close. I know where the question comes from, because you're a close member. You're close. You're a family member. And when you're close, people won't listen to you if it's not from an outsider.
But sometimes they don't even realize it. They don't see it. They feel something, but they cannot say it in words.
No, but still, I mean, like, I'm too close to tell you what you have. And because you're coming to judge me. Close people feel like, oh, you come to judge me. I close off, and that's why they say, oh, you need somebody, an outsider, to tell you. That's why they go to a psychologist, a professional, to tell you. And then suddenly, like, see, I told you. It's something that I've always said. It was like, he said it, yeah, but because he needed to hear from them. Maybe sometimes you needed to hear from somebody that inspires you, or somebody that you look up to that tells you that. And it's hard because this whole thing, again, it goes through stages. I don't know which stage that family member is, but again, it's talking to them and showing them that what they're doing is going to hurt them in the end, and sometimes they have to reach that wall. Tough love sometimes also works, and be there to catch them. That's one thing I always say, is like the best thing you can be for a family member is a safety net. That's it.
Yes.
Because sometimes they don't hear.
Yeah.
But you know what? You love them that much, be a safety net for them.
Yeah. Just being there.
Yeah.
Yes, just being there. Okay, we have a next question. I think the last one. Do you think pregnancy or motherhood can increase the risk of burnout in women, considering all the physical, emotionally, and social responsibilities they often carry, like caring for themselves, their home, family, partner, friends, and maintaining a job?
Yeah, that's a hard one, and it's true, completely true. Remember, pregnancy goes up and down. All these hormones goes up and down everywhere, and the stress of a work, and especially after a high-end work, like a lot of responsibility on you, it's gonna take a toll. It's gonna take a toll, and especially with a baby, right? So, with the chronic stress, there's some people, remember, what's something that can affect a baby is also the cortisol level that you pop up with, all that anxiety, all that stress that you built up being pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's no joke. It's a hard thing, and especially like what she says all the way through, like, oh, I have to care for myself. I have to care for the baby, or the newborn is going to come, the family. I have to do this, I have to do that, and and then it comes to a point where you have to talk and share the responsibilities, and to make it easier. So
yes, and also it's okay to be not okay.
It's okay not to be okay.
So to accept what you're going through,
Yeah.
and enjoy the process of being pregnant.
Yeah.
And
No, it's true. What was it? I had a nice book that I bought from my son called The Grumpy Monkey.
for your son.
Yeah. And I gotta tell you, what's funny about it?
We listen and we don't judge.
Well, I don't know, but it helped me too. And it's true, like at the end of the book, it says also like that it's a little ape that was grumpy, and they were telling all the animals in the animal kingdom was telling like, you're grumpy, and he got so pissed off, he ran off, and he says, I'm not grumpy, and then he went and said, maybe I'm grumpy, maybe I'm this, and his gorilla, which is his best friend, also was sitting next to him, and he says, in the end, like, it's all right to be grumpy. It's all right, like you said, it's okay not to be okay sometimes, and it just takes time for it to wear off. Yes. You just need to sit, even I would say enjoy the moment that you're not okay. It's weird sounding that, but
yes, it does.
But again, it does help.
It does.
Understand everything.
Definitely. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
And with that, we wrap up this great session and the final day of our 3-day Inner Lab webinar series. A big thank you to Dr. Arthur de Nobrega Texeira for sharing his experience, insight, and passion for community care. Your words were truly inspiring and great reminder of how powerful teamwork in healthcare can be. And it starts with everything but preventing.
Yeah.
A friendly reminder to fill in the evaluation form so you can receive your certificate of attendance. To everyone who joined us today and over the past few days, thank you. Your energy, questions, and interest have made this series so special. Even though this is our last session, we hope the ideas, conversation, and conversations continue. Let's keep taking care of ourselves, supporting each other, and making our health a priority. On behalf of the whole Inner Lab team, LabKnowledge and Farminpex, we thank you once again, and we hope to see you next time. Take care and stay well.